Welcome back to some professional beyond all reason. This is the grand finals of the 4v4 tournament. In my opinion, the most competitive team size game mode here. And let me introduce the two top teams to come out and now facing in a best of three. For the BARCodes, the highest ranked player in the match and the game. And also, now this is a curious fact, one of the balance designers of the game as well. So, if anyone knows how to play the way the game is now, it's this commander here, Ragnar. Joined with Team BARCode. They are called the BARCodes. LOL Steamroller, LSR, Cortex, Commander, Melody to the top left, and a Captain, Jack Sparrow. On the other side of the map, the TimeZone Nightmares. The finalists including Master Bell, also a content creator along with LSR. Teddy, one of the finalists of the 1v1 tournaments. Clyrit, already starting with his airpad. And Grumpy. We'll see how grumpy he remains. And I'm going to do one thing. If you're enjoying the Beyond All Reason content, this sort of move has been successful with StarCraft 2, and I think real-time strategy in general. But if we're able to get 444 likes on this 4v4 tournament finals, I will cast another series from this tournament. I mean, I'll probably do it anyways, because I really like the 4v4s. I think they're really cool. You already see players sharing units to their teammates. This is one of the mechanics of the game that I'm going to get into quickly. That also subscribe. Of course, you guys have been amazing. We just passed 10,000 subscribers. I'd like to pretend this is my 10,000 subscriber video, but it's happened so quickly. I didn't come up with anything. I'm just gonna continue making videos. Hopefully you enjoy. But you can transfer not just resources, but also units in general. That includes economic structures to your teammates. So you see both sides really now dumping resources and constructors to their teammates, and from what I understand, there's going to be a lot of that. It is kind of an unexplored mechanic at the top. Well, in public games where people are a little more selfish with their units here, but there is a huge boost to be had by sharing some of the basic resources early on and pooling them to allow at least one of your teammates to really boost their build a lot more quickly. And that's why we see just 2 minutes and 50 seconds in, 3 bombers from Clyrit making their way across here on Tabula, the 4v4 map. I know it has quite a history, from my understanding. Air up. Yes, a scout here leading the charge. We're going to go to the player view of Clyrit. You see him using that scout aircraft to get a bit of vision, so that way the bombers, which have much less vision, can line up a bombing run. Starting out, not fighting much, moves the constructors out of the way in time. Pirate not fighting too much as Melody is able to get an air pad up. So we see a lot more usage of the air plant when the other 3 players are able to cover for it, as the aircraft can be quite a force multiplier, but you need to make sure you got the ground covered as well, which both teams are really focused on at the moment. Teddy and Master Bell have pushed forward over the river, which is roughly the halfway mark of the map here. It is not perfectly symmetrical, but it's roughly symmetrical on both sides. So that river and the water in general just indicates the demarcation line, the Rubicon here, if you would. The Tabulacon. Moving on. A few pawns. Well, a lot of pawns from Captain Jack. Slicing through Teddy's grunts, mostly scouting grunts, trying to pick off those vulnerable metal extractors or mexes. And a lot of team games really comes down to how much you're able to assist your teammates. Well, I guess this map doesn't really have lanes so much as many, but if you're ever able to contribute some of your units and help out your teammate in their part of the map, it can make a huge difference, as all these players are going to be producing pretty much the maximum amount of units. So any added to the fray, especially from a flanking direction where they get some bonus damage, it's going to be a huge deal. LSR trying to come up, but Master Bell's already grabbed a. Very important to note, some of the metal extractors in the center are worth 4 per second, as opposed to the 1.9 of just the more mundane ones scattered throughout, especially at the starting area. Teddy establishing the other 4 here. Master Bell invests in a vehicle pad. Some aircraft scouting for Melody, looking for Clyrit, who's actually built a few air transports here. Very interesting. The air transport's taking a lot of damage. You can land them to try to avoid the fighters. But the transports are definitely something. I'm not sure what he's interested in doing with them. Another thing to point out, Ragnar's managed to take these metal extractors for the BARCodes, whereas they remain untaken right now for the TimeZone Nightmares. And in fact, some more metal extractors might be vulnerable as the bombing run comes in. Scout leads the charge. Here come the bombers. Master Bell will be the recipient of the first run, scattered throughout. Bombers, the layout of the wind turbines minimizing damage so far. A little more vulnerable as his teammate, as the bombers find another half dozen or even more turbines. Not a massive economic blow, but the bombers are mostly unchallenged here because Clyrit was going for the air transports, trying to bring some construction turrets up, but now going to be regretting the severe lag. He actually salvaged, oh no, his air plant. He salvaged his air plant, or reclaimed it rather, in order to get that metal back, but now there's no access to fighter aircraft, which is going to be a huge issue for the TimeZone Nightmares. Master Bell, with his reduced economy, not even having the units in position for Captain Jack. Well, Captain Jack now ransacking the base with his pawns here. Master Bell down to only 80 energy per second, which is pretty horrible at this stage of the game. Compare that, well, the highest on the field is Malady at 288. Which is not a huge disparity. Well, it's 3-4 times as much, depending exactly on the makeup. So, Master Bell at half HP, Captain Jack closing in on the center. But the vehicle out in D-gun range. The disintegration gun on the commander. Deadly to anything in its path, including other commanders, at least until the next proposed update. But I'll let you go to Discord for that one. The bombers are still going, by the way. Just technically, the light laser turrets can take shots at them, but they do cost energy per shot. And Master Bell has so little energy, he can't even afford. Yeah, he's building wind turbines in the middle of the field because, wow, he's been crippled here. If this was a public game, I think he'd have some strong words for his teammates. But instead, he's just going to have to suffer because this is the grand finals. And these kind of strategies can be expected, anticipated, but apparently not countered. The pawns closing in. Master Bell is the first casualty. And widening the river in the center. The pawns close in. He's just not able to get away in time. Commander down. And 2,000 metal on the deck. So far, the BARCodes with their economic sharing strategy. Malady making incredible use of the bombers. And in fact, they're still going, by the way. This one has 6 kills. Just hitting whatever it can. Shuriken slowing down. Wait. Grumpy has a pawn over here. Eventually, a turret goes up with the Shuriken stunning temporarily. Very useful if anti-air is limited. And with economies like this, those Shurikens getting so much value. Shuriken's one of my favorite units in the game. So great for turning the tide. They're very fragile units, easily wiped out by basic anti-air, but you find the right opportunity, you lock them down and you knock them out. Here comes Captain Jack. Just cutting his way through the pawns, taking advantage of the frozen units there. Bomber still going, I might add. It does escape moments before being taken out. Malady has been adding on some more economy back at home. Getting some transports of his own. I think going to transport those construction turrets to the front. And already has done one. Going to use that construction turret to grab some of the metal. And right now, the metal advantage could go to metal produced overall. The BARCodes, 4,000 advantage. Really starting to add up here. Energy production as well. Not as meaningful, but one usually leads into the other. Grumpy sharing Claret some energy here. Grumpy, the only player who's barely managed to build up. There's constantly sharing going on. Honestly, I'm struggling to keep up. Missile tanks coming out of Ragna. Good against those big groups. The Janus rocket launchers. Able to deal with big groups of infantry. Quite easily, though relatively slow. Take some time to reload. I love this. Wow, what a play. He's going to transfer those to his teammate, right? Malady drops off some construction turrets. They're both probably engrossed by this fight here. Striking back, the TimeZone Nightmares. Cutting through. Teddy, a whole lot of grunts. And Grumpy with a bunch of medium tanks. But the shurikens, grunts, and basic defenses... Oh, he's just helping out. I guess you just rarely see someone using their construction, their build power to help their teammates, because it does cost you. But in this case, I mean, everybody's on the same page here. So, really cool to see all these little mechanics that are mostly unexplored. Honestly, I'm missing so much of it. There's so much going on right now. Captain Jack gets by the handful of ticks, but even a single tick, it can be deadly. And while there is no Lyme disease in Beyond All Reason, there is the ability to take out much of the economy if it's undefended. Which is worse, arguably. The medium tanks, quite a solid counter for the rocket launchers, but some Jaguars have been added in. The lighter Tier 2 lightning tanks. Pretty great against all Tier 1 units. In general, the Jaguar, one of the best units. Who do we lose here? Wait a second. It's 2 commanders to 1. There's only... Grumpy's the last commander for the TimeZone Nightmares. We're 12 minutes in. And nobody sacrificed their commander for the medal, but instead... It has been a battle. And on the open field, you see the gravestones of 4 commanders right now. Geo soon ready. Oh, Tier 2 Geo here. Worth 1,250 energy. Which currently almost doubles Malady's energy production. And accounts for over 25% of the team's total energy. So Malady... going to use that. I'm going to go to his... Yes, he's overflowing to the team. He's trying to share all the energy. His team cannot use all the energy. He's sharing his entire energy bar. And his team can't use it. Because it's just like... There's just too much. Wow, suffering from success here. What a play. The midfield, still... contested, but I gotta say, it does feel like the BARCodes have had a much more coherent grasp of the situation throughout. They've been the ones able to take advantage of the situation, and they still have 2 commanders. The other 2 were traded out. Grumpy investing in Tier 2. Once Tier 2 is solidly on the field for your opponents, you can fudge it a bit. Oh, he actually transfers the Geo to Ragna. Ragna right now, probably the largest amount of unit production, as he's got that Tier 2 Armada vehicles. The Jaguar lightning tanks for clearing out all the infantry. He hasn't switched off those yet, as there's nothing that really requires heavier metal in this case. And while Malady is essentially the support player, he's brought construction turrets around. He's sharing the energy. He's building all the eco buildings. He's done the aircraft hit squads. And off the back of his economic support, his team is looking very comfortable here in Game 1. I can't believe this scout. Wait, does that scout give vision when it's on the ground? I don't think it gives vision unless it's in the air. Well, actually... Huh, this is Malady's player view. Wow, I think it gives vision on the ground, like the same radius. Ah, that's pretty sick. Good to know. A landed scout is still a scout. Is that a ball? Grumpy has... Yes, that is the heaviest Armada Tier 2 tank. Big AoE on that shot. A lot of HP. Very expensive. But in my opinion, feels the most like a tank. of any tank in the game. Really fits that heavy support role. The Grunts trying to close in. Do the Grunts have a chance against the Bulls? If they get a lot of flanking damage in, they can maybe scratch the paint on it, but of course pushing them back at all is key here. Some of the Hounds being added on. How is he getting Hounds? Is my question. Is he building them with the console? Which is actually very cool as well. The combat engineer can build the Hounds. But it is 2.5k to 1.2k energy. The wind not doing so great at the moment, so lowering the energy of both teams significantly. No geothermal right now for the TimeZone Nightmares. Means a lot of trouble. Just constant sharing happening, by the way. Sharing is indeed caring about your chances to win this tournament. The Hounds, the skirmish, mortar/skirmish bot, are very good as an early tier 2 as well. They also have 2 options of weapons. Both the Gauss cannon and the plasma cannon. The plasma cannon has a little bit of a larger arc, does a big AoE, but slower velocity using the plasma cannon right now. The Gauss cannon is a lot more accurate, less AoE, higher projectile velocity. But neither of them are very good when you get run over. What are those? We got some rascals closing in. Bit of a desperation move. Throws out the D-gun. Captain Jack moves in with the pawns here. Trying to intercept all those rascals. Pounder tanks as well. But still very light on the tier 2. Both sides. Ooh, some bulls added in by Ragnar. Want something a little heavier, especially when he's dealing with all these pounders over here. The tier 1 Cortex Riot tanks, which do some knockback to especially smaller units. I'm not exactly sure how that's determined, but what was that? A Starlight. One of the coolest units in the game, but also incredibly expensive and costs energy per shot. But of course, that shot not only will kill most of the smaller targets it aims at, but it's much like a Colossus in StarCraft 2. It'll burn through the whole general area. So it can go through multiple targets. But of course, it is 1,200 metal, so very expensive. Everybody's sharing units back and forth. I can't keep up with who's doing what with that. How have they caught up in energy? Is there a fusion? Oh, wait. Tier 2 Geo, but it's 4K to 4.69K. Nice, but also kind of crazy that the TimeZone Nightmares are even close here. Bulls rolling through. Still, though, the center field and those valuable mexes, I don't believe they're tier 2 mexes, which are worth 4 times as much. In fact, there's not that many tier 2 mexes out there. Melody's been trying his best to upgrade his teams, but this is the big push. It comes down to whether or not the TimeZone Nightmares can stop the running of the Bulls and the released Hounds. They've got some of those Armada vehicles as well. Starlight on the back, gonna help out a lot against the Bulls. But incredibly, you cannot let it get close. It's gonna melt immediately. All right, yeah, the Bull's just gonna melt it. Might get one more shot. Gets one more, gets a Bull with it, but they go back and forth. Master Bell sharing some metal to Grumpy. Grumpy trying to produce what he can, but oh, here comes Melody. Wait, oh, there are bombers mixed in there, just trying to confuse the anti-air. But here we go. Looking for shots. The wind turbines well spread by Grumpy, but the carpet bombing will continue. Good luck defending against all of that. There isn't remotely close to enough anti-air here. And, oh god, the tier 2 Geo's vulnerable. Well, that's both most of the energy, and actually you gotta be a little careful not to blow it up next to all your bombers, because it will take out all of the bombers pretty much. But managed quite well by Melody. Only loses 2 bombers to the explosion. And now, most of the field has been overtaken. They make their way up. Between the bulls and the hounds, I am hard pressed. TimeZone Nightmares just struggling to put anything on the field. That the economic damage early was crippling. They made a laudable comeback, but the BARCodes really did, it feels like, lock it down. And all their losses were trades as opposed to mistakes. Yeah, there's almost no contest. I mean, technically, at the end of the day, in order to win a game of Beyond All Reason, all you have to do is kill your opponent's commanders. But it's very unlikely. Wait, who's the last commander? Malady still has his comm in his base. He's bringing all these turrets around here. I love the construction turret transport usage. True support there. So even the basic even brings, yeah, this is the kind of stuff that the highest level players and teams really use. That is so cool. That honestly, it's some real talk. I really wish StarCraft 2 had made any effort to care about team games. Like, when it comes to more smoothly sharing. You know what? I would have taken being able to build on Zerg Creek. All right. But here in Beyond All Reason, the team is essentially a single entity. All the best parts are RCOM mode. Grumpy self-destructs his own commander. And with it, defeat. Game 1 goes to the BARCodes. We see the APMs here, the mouse commands per minute. The mouse pixel, this is, from my understanding, this is mouse pixels per minute. So essentially, literally how much you move the mouse around the screen. This is keyboard commands a minute, and this is just basic, like, fight and attack and all that commands. And this is the size of the, like, how many units you're controlling. Here you got your graphs, metal used throughout the game. Energy, wow, that one's clear. Energy, okay, here's the production. Energy produced, metal produced. Very interesting here. I think Captain Jack both was getting most of the mexes, as well as a lot of the reclaim on the field, which is such a huge part of the game. So, overall, a decisive victory in Game 1. Oh my, what a difference in damage. Ragna does 190k damage, which is over half his team and nearly as much as the entire enemy team. Right, Ragna imbalanced. Wow. All right, well, a pretty tough act to follow here. Get back. But that is why we play best of threes with at least these top players. We're going to another river map. Not a water map, though. There is a pretty significant amount involved. The maps have such a huge effect on the game. Way more. Like, if you're coming from StarCraft 2, you don't understand. Like, maps are a big deal in StarCraft 2. And that's why we've essentially cut out any creativity, so that way we can do the same build on each one. But each map has different level of wind. I'm loading the game, so it's chugging a bit. But different level of wind. Like Tabula had pretty high wind. All right, here. Where are we here? We got the BARCodes to the north. And the TimeZone Nightmares to the south of E-Main Matcha Remake. Cliffs are mostly traversed by, I like the little tip. By the way, in case you want to know if your map is what map you're on while you're in the game, usually there's a signature. But here we have 13.4 average wind speed. It can dip pretty low, but essentially everything over 10 means wind is by far the best option. Technically, if it's over 7 or so, mathematically it's 5 or 6, but over 7 or so is usually when you start considering wind as the main option. But wind at what, 13 is almost better than the fusion reactors later on. In general, wind turbines are your most efficient option in those cases. It's just a matter of space and build power. Like, you don't always have unlimited space to build wind turbines, so fusion reactors. No fleas, which to my understanding are... Oh my god. Oh my god. You call yourself a balance designer, but you don't know ticks. So, the big weakness of the Armada ticks, aka fleas, which a lot of those names or players are carryovers from other versions of games inspired by Total Annihilation. But hopefully you're enjoying the Beyond All Reason. Make sure to check out the Beyond All Reason Discord. And also, remember, 444 likes. And we'll cast another. If you have recommendations from the tournament, I know probably some of the players from the tournament are going to be watching this, so you know better than me which games are worth a look. So this map does have a lot of metal to be reclaimed early on lying around, as both sides clearly are aware. Metal and energy in the form of they just eat the trees, pretty much. I'm gonna do the cool camera rotation here. The Great River. It's very bright out today. That's why all the units are wearing their sunglasses. See the pawns heading down. Another beautiful day as the commanders will try to obliterate one another. And Winter realizes he really should be looking at the eco builds early instead of admiring the water effects, because it's such a key part of these games, what the players are doing with their early eco. That is so much strategy involved. Shurikens come out, Master Bell able to catch some of the grunts from Captain Jack. Sharing units back and forth, Malady and LSR here. I gotta say, I didn't comment too much on LSR in the last match. He was chilling for much of it, putting plenty of units on the field, helping out. But honestly, he was in mostly a support role. Nobody gets it's like being the fourth best player. Okay. It's like being the fourth least scoring player on the basketball team. All right, you're very important. Without you there, it would really make things difficult, but also you're probably not making the highlight reels. And LSR did not make the highlight reels on that last game. Unless I missed something dramatic. I do apologize, but definitely held it down. Malady and Ragnar combining economically, and Captain Jack did a lot of backstabs there. Unfortunately, Master Bell didn't really get an opportunity to do much, as it was targeted both by the bombers, as well as both by bombers and by the run-by early that eviscerated his economy. So, here we are. The full layout of the map. The lines are drawn quite literally in the sand here. And add a bots. Yes, it looks like Master Belt. Well, he has the Shurikens added in. Always a great addition. Both sides. Just building up on either side of the river. The river, I believe, slows down the bots a little. They can walk right through it. It's shallow enough that pretty much any unit can go through it, except for over here. Well, actually, apparently... Oh, no. Anti-air bots are amphibious. So, I don't know if it has to have its little head above the... I don't know if that can shoot from there, but... it can walk there at the very least. Well, here comes... Teddy. Closing in on Ragnar. Staying on that high ground. Giving some area to retreat to. Just really severely discourages any forward movement. The pawns lined up. So, grunts do have a range advantage over pawns. And they both move the same speed. So you gotta be very careful when you decide to engage with the pawns against a player of this caliber. Because Teddy will move back and essentially kite you to the ends of the Earth. So you try to limit how much Earth there is, essentially. It is one of the more difficult interactions for Armada early on, is the pawns being both more expensive and unable to really close the distance. I believe Teddy is just firing at ground here. He knows there's some units out there. Oh, single scout going by. That's always a stressful moment. There are some anti-air bots, though. There's been a lot more buildup here in Game 2. And both sides getting a much more significant economy. In fact, Ragna already 6.5 minutes in, which is quite quick in the grand scheme of things, especially considering nobody's sacrificing their command or anything. Getting the Tier 2 vehicle lab. Claret and Teddy moving forward for the TimeZone Nightmares. TZN has a significant eco advantage, actually, as well. They've managed to grab a lot more energy and even a few more metal extractors. So, we'll see what they do with that advantage. The big key here is going to be the quick Tier 2 out of Ragna. I don't see an equivalent on the other side. No Tier 2 out of TZN. So, the Tier 2 for the incredible advanced metal extractors is really the key point, as opposed to the units at the moment. Just getting that massive economic boost early on, and having it at this point, having it just a full Tier 2 timing quicker. Like right now, Teddy is reclaiming his bot lab in order to get making Geo. Wind is good. I imagine these players are communicating on Discord or something like that, so it's kind of surprising to see them talking at all in game. But I don't know, maybe not all the players talk on Discord or whatever voice program. Probably Discord. As at this level, certainly having that sort of coordination. You see Claret getting fed a huge amount of metal. He also has the Tier 2. So 2 Tier 2 labs so far. We see the BARCode. I think what the BARCodes are doing so well is really min-maxing the production. Like, they're never having 2 players go for tech at the same time. They're kind of rotating in and out of what each player is doing, which is something you can only do if you're really coordinating with your team. Whereas TZN is doing a lot more of what you'd see in your standard kind of high-level game, which is sharing some of your eco, but also kind of a bit of an every com for themselves situation. Yeah, the standoff will continue. So far, only this is a passive game, by the way. Only 100 or so units killed in 10 minutes. Oh no, Claret says, look here. I look over here. Well, there's a ball anyways. This is, should give things away, as clearly Tier 2 is on the field. We've got multiple advanced geos now for the northern team. The ball's moving forward. This is going to be difficult to beat. Already giving up all the ground on the beachhead here. Artillery tanks on the back line, not going to be too much in this case. A few shurikens slowing down the push for LSR. Against LSR, rather. Master Bell shurikens. Yeah, those Tier 2 geothermals really going to boost the energy income of the BARCodes. So, TZN now need to figure out, like, what are you committing to? Are we going to go for a ton of units, static defense? There's clearly an advantage right now with Ragna punching through the center. He's got the Mausers. That vehicle, tier 2 vehicle artillery. As long as you get it facing the right direction. Does quite a good job. A single pop-up turret here. The Sabot battery. Does just a solid all-around. Very good tier 2 turret. So, going to discourage Ragna from moving too far forward for now. Grumpy, though. Spider attack. The recluses. All-terrain rocket spiders. Have a decent range. I haven't seen them used as like an actual frontline battle unit, but it appears they outrange most turrets with those rockets. And they can maneuver around cliffs and such. A lot better than your average bot. Master Bell sharing energy, but the beachhead is kind of being cleared right now, as the bulls have run over most of it. LSR cleared out much of the left flank here. Clyrit cloaks, but apparently there is radar. So, or they're just targeting ground. I'm not sure which one, but Clyrit already down to 40%, looking for an opportunity with the D-gun. I'm going to the Ragna view. Oh, they see him. How do they have radar? I'm actually not sure. I'm looking for it. They do clearly have it. Oh, Clyrit. Taken out. Is that an advanced radar back there or something? Oh, wait, no. Barely on the edge. Oh, that's rough, yeah. Radar towers have quite a radius. Well, bit of a desperate move here, Clyrit. That metal on the ground. Gonna try to deal with it. The Shuriken's helping a bit, but there's not enough of them to stop the brunt of this tier 2. Here come a few fiends, but the Armada vehicles are still pounding away. The Hound's leading the charge. Some grunts mixed in for flavor. And it does seem like almost before it really gets started, this push may end the game. As the BARCodes just really, especially in the early game, using the economic tools available to maximize the team economy and essentially feed Ragna the ability, well, boosting him to the point where he can get these tier 2 units and use them so quickly. So hard to deal with bulls and Mausers this early on. Master Bell thinking about a comm drop. A desperate move. But desperate times call for desperate measures. Oh, doesn't even have time for radar. Oh no. We're in trouble town here. Population, Master Bell. So the Hounds using those Gauss cannons. The Bulls completely out of range. Master Bell's down for the count. 2 left. And, well, there's nothing stopping these bombers on the way. But Malady has a few of his own. Here they come. Doesn't want to miss out on the action. Bombers coming in. Tier 2 geothermal being targeted. Didn't get quite enough to take it out. One more run might do it. The Bulls have just been running the table here. Another set of wind turbines obliterated. Oh, and there we go. We got it. The Bulls racking up double-digit kills. The production being overrun. Captain Jack, like, don't forget about me. Grumpy is being chased down by rocket spiders. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna bother everyone. It was pointed out to me, and now I'm gonna point out to you. The spiders only have 6 legs, making them not actually. I don't know what the definition of an actual spider, especially not a robot spider, but I'm just saying. Well. It looks... it's just the economic boost here. Almost like getting Ragna those units early. LSR able to maintain production on the left flank. They just broke it open. They kind of rotated around, probing for weakness, and eventually found some. The combined forces of LSR and Ragna. The damage. Yeah, LSR coming through this game. Still, wasn't paying close attention. But he did plenty of work to open up the left flank. which Ragna was happy to run the bulls through. And GG, across the board, your champions. And now this is gonna hurt me a little bit coming from StarCraft 2 to say. It's the BARCodes, the golden cow. LOL Steamroller. Just an immaculate game to close out the tournament. And they will claim victory. And this beyond all reason. So this wasn't the only series. Both these teams played against another in up to 6 other teams. And they had the 2 top records. So this was essentially like the final show match. But so many games played. And if you have recommendations, make sure to throw them out there. But very interesting to see how the eco-coordination works out. Showing that, well, to be honest, the games go pretty quick. I, personally, would love longer games, but it's a weird complaint, especially considering some of the criticism I saw from people who might not be well-versed in the game, how relatively slow it is. But here you can see, even if it's a somewhat passive game, it can end quite quickly with enough coordination. So, congratulations to the BARCodes. Good effort by the TimeZone Nightmares. Thank you for watching. I hope I made the day a little bit better. Like, subscribe. See you next time. Good luck, have fun. Stay unreasonable.